Welcome back to Pictish Shorts, the usually short podcast from the Pictish Art Society. Now, this is episode 14, and my guest today is a very good friend of mine. It's Hamish Lamley from Pictavia Leather, and also Hamish is a very accomplished tattoo artist. In fact, I think I would probably describe Hamish as just a very good artist and craftsman, because he's also been in my workshop carving stone, and a very good job of it he did too. Hamish, welcome to Pictish Shorts. Please tell us what you're up to just now.
Thanks for having me. At the moment, renovating a new house we've just moved into, so I am a craftsman without a workshop, which is leading to a massive character crisis. So the faster I can get a workshop up and running, the faster I can settle easy, which will be nice.
Absolutely. And of course, I didn't mention the fact that you also design and have printed your own Pictish T-shirts. You and I are both wearing very fine Pictish T-shirts today.
Oh, yeah. Always.
What have you got on there? Is that Brandsbutt?
Brandsbutt. So,
Aye.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
I love the Dunnikin as well. It's nice.
Yeah, well, this is a range of T-shirts that we're designing based on artwork from the 1990s, sort of the early days of the Pictish Art Society, where it was literally run by artists, and they were producing all sorts of stuff like this. This is from an old conference poster from 1992, designed by Nick Simpson, the late Nick Simpson. So yeah, we're sort of bringing some of that stuff back to life, and it's great fun to do it. Anyway, Hamish, let's crack on with these devilish 5 questions and start with the big one. What first got you interested in the Picts?
Well, I grew up in the northeast, so I used to play on Pictish stones as a kid. So that kind of captures you of it. And then trips to Arkule, when that was open in its heyday, that was phenomenal. You know, a big wall painted with Pictish warriors, covered in blue spirals. I'd be lying if I said I didn't, alter my life in some way. So yeah, that definitely captured it. And then I think it was later in life when I moved to Norway and was teaching Viking age craft, Vikings in Norway, and then kind of that clocks the brain, and I've got my own culture to explore. So coming home and delving back into like a kind of reinvention of it for me.
And how do you play on a Pictish stone?
Carefully.
I have a customer actually who told me that she once jumped a particular Pictish stone on a horse.
Cool.
Well, I'm not sure that's the way to deal with our heritage. But
well, we don't know they weren't doing that. Maybe that's the horse stone in Inverurie. Maybe that's what it was for.
Maybe that's what it was for. Hamish, I first encountered you when our mutual friend Chris Grant said to me, "You've got to see this guy, Hamish the half goat, right?" And he sent me a picture of you standing proudly on the prow of this leather boat that you'd been building in Norway, and it was just incredible. But why are you no longer Hamish the half goat?
It was a bit of a silly name that sort of at the time I was half goat leatherwork, and I could either trademark the business for £3,000 or I could change my name for 30 quid. So I just changed my name to this name, and then realised it had other connotations on a terrorist watch alert list.
No.
Because they thought my name was Hamish, half goat. So it made airport security tough for quite a few years. So I decided to change the business to something more in line with what I was doing. Changed it back to Pictavia, and within 5 TV jobs, booked out with events. So yeah, had to retire the old half goat name.
Fun though it was. But anyway, let's crack on. What do you find really interesting about the matters Pictish now?
That there's always ongoing research, but I feel like it's being published more at the moment. Yeah. I feel like more and more, specifically sort of Northern Picts project, but other projects as well, as they're being worked on and analysed, books are coming out more frequently, and our understanding of the archaeological record is updating faster than it has in previous eras. So, you'll come across this all the time of people coming to you at a stall saying, well, we don't really know anything about the Picts.
Yeah.
I'm saying, have you actually bought any of the 3, 4, 5 books that have come out in the last 2 years alone? We know an awful lot about the Picts, I think. So I think it's really fascinating that we're at this new cycle of information updating faster than we can read it, really.
Yeah, I don't think there's another area of medieval studies that is galloping on at the speed that Pictish studies is.
leads, because it could lead down the route of more in the media or television, movies picking it up, and then it could turn into something fantasy like Vikings has in modern media. So depends how far
Yeah.
which way it goes. You never know.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's more sort of real factual stuff to delve into.
To appreciate it to its fullest, I think.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, let's crack on. Now, next question is your favourite stone or artefact?
Brandsbutt, because that's the one I grew up playing on.
Yeah.
And
is that why it's broken?
Yeah.
Did you break it?
Well, maybe. It's in the centre of a council estate, really. But it's one of those stones that is just, simple as best. It's got that beautiful simplex symbol pair. It's got the lovely ogham and its most decipherable ones there are. Just everything about it screams Pictish character. I just love it.
Yeah, good choice. One of my favourites I revisited just the other day is the Strathmartin Castle stone that's in the McManus. And just looking again at the crescent and V-rod and noticing some detail I hadn't noticed before. The lines don't really join up. They actually stop shy of the line that they're coming to connect to. Okay. And then there's a tiny little detail, like a little square or a little circle where they join up. It's absolutely fantastic. And of course, it's got that wonkiness to it that's deeply attractive, Yeah. So sometimes simple is best, but when you look closer, it's not maybe as simple as you think, eh?
A fan of the wonky.
Yeah. I think we're all fans of Pictish wonkiness.
Yeah.
It's never quite as clean and as symmetrical as it looks to begin with. Right, let's crack on. Next one is one site or museum that you would recommend someone visit above others.
And something that's a wee gem. Yeah, specific to Pictish. Is Meagle Museum.
Yeah.
The reason I love it is I think it's so difficult to get these stones when they're in museums in the right light.
Yeah.
You've got those whitewashed walls, and actually having a kill of stones from a kind of single context. I think that I can't help but go in there in awe, really. When you've got the text, you've got light beam, and you can see every little detail, and you can see the combinations between the stones as well. An absolute gem. I would always recommend people go and see that.
Yeah, Meagle's come up a few times on these, and of course, people always have different reasons for liking it. They're always really, really interesting. I mean, I like St. Vigen's, right? I like the layout. I like the fact it's got this stunning redisplay and a lot of thoughts gone into lighting. But I'm glad we also have Meagle, where it sort of hasn't been modernised, if you like.
I'm a big fan of the sort of 90s layout.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, I remember the days when St. Vigen's was more like Meagle. It was all a bit haphazard, and things were displayed in a really sort of crazy way in that place. And you went and picked up the key from Laura down the road, and up and open, and then you went and just wandered around. But as Peter Yeoman pointed out, a couple of the steel things that were holding the stones in place were actually holding the building up. Very Heath Robinson.
I mean, it's got to be so hard to modernize museums. It's such a fine line I've found, because I'm a big fan of when museums are and they need updating, they need a little refresher. But then I've seen in some museum modernized that they've gone from lovely old hand-drawn art to kind of not even as far as AI art, but quite digital art that doesn't quite represent the archaeology. Sometimes it's on display, interpretation, what seems to be important changes, and I think the biggest thing is updating them so they have more access, disability, wheelchair access, and things is great. And gift shops always a thing, but there's only so far I believe we should modernize museums. I think there's that gem of the kind of antiquity to them as well that I think we can lose if we're not careful.
Yeah, what do you make of the new Perth Museum?
I love it. I think they've done a great job, and I'm, like a lot of us researchers, critical of museums and how they change, and blown away by how much I really enjoyed Perth Museum. There's a lot more on display, and it's really well curated in the site, which I love. And as a replica maker, they've got replicas out on there. So,
and one of yours, I think.
One of mine as well. So I'm a little biased. But,
what was your favourite thing in there?
I love the St. Mary's stone. It's lovely. But in that little picture, there is some lovely little brooches.
Yes.
Which I love. They're just stunning.
It is really well done. It's a really good representative collection of stones in there. Personally, I love Gellyburn. I love it.
Yeah.
It's just really tidy. It's a lovely, tidy little stone with a great design. Really
Yeah.
love it. Yeah.
I mean, it's fun. A ring mold in there that's just blows my mind.
Yeah, yeah. And some of the later medieval brooches and things in there are just obviously completely stunning,
Yeah, and
it's
their
very well
display
done.
for the Stone of Destiny, really, really enjoyable. Really nice display.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. Okay, on to the last question, which is the real stinker, and that is, which lost stone or fragment would you most like someone to come across?
The stone that had the sort of like a chariot or a cart. I think it was more of a cart.
Oh, Meagle 10.
Is that it? Yeah, with I think it had a bear on it as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bear
Yeah.
attacking a man. Yeah, eating
Yeah,
his
I think,
face by the look of the drawings. Proper
yeah.
horror stuff.
Oh, I would really love to get a look at that because
Oh
obviously
yeah,
we've got the drawing of it, but we
yeah,
know from the other drawings in those samples that they're not always the most accurate.
yeah. I think we've
So
got two drawings of it, haven't we? Two antiquarian drawings.
yeah.
Yeah, I've had a look at sort of redrawing it with a view to carving it, but again, I'm just not sure it's entirely representative of what it would look like. I need to spend a lot more time, thinking about it. And of course, it's we did talk about it being the only one with a cart and things on it, but of course, Skinnet we now know has got a horse and cart, a chariot, if you like, at the foot of it. So, but it would be amazing. Yeah, I often think. It was destroyed in the fire in the church, but how destroyed was it? Are there bits of it lying somewhere?
Yeah. Someone's got it in the corner of their house.
Yeah, yeah, in the foundations of their house. Well, of
Yeah.
course, Catherine Forsyth, who he was on here a couple of weeks ago, found a stone at Meagle on our first visit by poking around in the ground with her umbrella.
Jeez.
And
Well, if anyone would bet my money.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's the only one I think she's ever found.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it was her first visit there, poking around with a steel-tipped umbrella and
Yeah.
picked up this stone, and it's now in the museum, So I do wonder how fire damaged that and other stones were, at that fire at the church. But hopefully we'll find
Well,
it
you'll
at
have to
some
do some
point.
tests. Could you carve some stones and do some sample tests on putting them in buildings and set them on fire?
Well, I mean, I remember bonfires at the beach at Arbroath and Auchmithie when I was growing up, and sandstone does have a tendency to explode.
Yeah.
And split along its planes. I'm not sure how safe that would be, but yeah, it'd be worth a try.
Just give a stone to a couple of 13-year-olds. Just
Let
tell
them
them to have at it.
kick it about, set it on fire.
Aye.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Anyway, Hamish, tell us what are you up to in the next couple of weeks? Because you're a man who likes a bit of travel.
And tattooing at the Boyne Valley Viking Festival. Be home for a couple of days before I fly out to Sweden to tattoo at the Historical Tattoo Convention on the island of Birka. And then I'm home for a day before I'm back to Ireland, lecturing at the World Celtic Art Conference over there.
Fantastic, Hamish.
So, a couple of weeks.
I hope that we our paths cross over the summer at various events, and if not, I'm going to pop in and see you in Moffat next time I'm passing that way. So thanks
Absolutely.
very much for joining us today, mate. Much appreciated.